Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much, and remember,
the Southeast is not landlocked. Actually, the Southeast has the deepest and the shortest access to the Atlantic Ocean compared to all of Nigeria. Since after the Biafran War of survival, you know, Ndi Igbo have been hit with a barrage of lies and propaganda, you know, concerning our access to the ocean, and in a condescending but rather popular phrase, our detractors say that the Southeast or Igbo is landlocked. But is Igbo landlocked? The answer is no. Igbo is not. Igbo land is not landlocked, you know, and like I said earlier, we have one of the deepest access to the ocean. Now, with this, I would like to welcome you to another interesting episode at Voice of the Sun. Today, we'll be dispelling the lies and the propaganda that says that Igbo land is landlocked and we do not have access to the ocean, which is something you will always hear in the Nigerian media space. So now, before we go ahead to discuss the geography of Igbo, I would like for us to define what a landlocked region or country is, right? So, a country or region is considered landlocked when it is surrounded by one or more countries and therefore has no immediate coastline preceding, you know, or providing access to the sea or the ocean. Now, simply put, this means that a landlocked country is a country that is inside another country. Now, with this definition, would you say that Igbo land is inside another country? The answer is no. The answer is no. So, to understand the far reach of our land, Igbo, let us dive into a little geography, you know, and list the far reaches, not few, the far reaches of our land, Igbo, before the Nigerian government, you know, carved it out and turned them into the south, leaving us with just 5 southeastern states, right? So, Igbo are located on both sides of the River Niger, you know, and we occupy most of the old eastern region. You know, before we had southeast, we had at independence we had an old eastern region which compassed the 5 southeastern states, rivers. All the south states were under the what do you call it? The old eastern region, right? So let us look at that location, that geographical location. So Igbo, you know, that is what I love to call Igbo. It measures up to 41,000 square kilometers, and it includes the old provinces of Onitsha, Owerri, East Rivers, which is Iguacha, which they renamed as Port Harcourt, and then we have Southwest Benin. No, not Southwest Benin. We have Southeast Benin, the Abo area, you know, and then coming down Abo area, yes. Then we have West Ogoja, and then we have the Northeast Warri. All of these are the areas that you would find Igbo people all around the south, the old eastern Nigeria, right? So so now a detailed study of Igbo will show you that. So now I'm going into the rivers, the waterways, the tributaries we have in Igbo. Now, a detailed study of our topography would show you that Abia State, Keta, Imo State, Anambra have some of the shortest distances, you know, tributaries leading to the Atlantic Ocean. We have the Azumini or Azumiri in Abia State. We have Imo River. We have Omambala, which is River Niger. And then we have Oguta Lake in Imo State. We have Oseakwa River in Ihiala, Anambra State, which actually terminates in the southeast end of the Atlantic Ocean. And then these rivers I mentioned above, they all have short, very, very short navigational paths to the Atlantic Ocean. And geographically, they have far shorter distances. If you measure the distance, which is not measured in nautical miles, from land to the sea, measured in nautical miles. Not the nautical miles of these rivers, they are shorter than that of Calabar, Port Harcourt, Ibaka seaport, you know, to the Atlantic Ocean. One of my lights have gone off, but we must continue. So yeah, so the Azumini River in Abia State and the Imo River are basically 15 to 30 nautical miles to the beachhead of the Atlantic Ocean. Keep this in mind. The Azumini in Abia and the Imo River are 15 to 30 nautical miles to the beachhead of the Atlantic Ocean. And then we have the Obuako River in Abia State, which is 25 nautical miles. 25 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean from the confluence of the Azumini River and the Imo River. Where the Azumini River and the Imo River meet, there you find the Obuako River, and it has 25 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. And then we have the Osakwa River in Ihiala, which I mentioned earlier, which is just a mere 18 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean, and it has a depth of 65 feet, making it the deepest waterway to the Atlantic Ocean, the deepest natural waterway to the Atlantic Ocean in Nigeria as a whole. Other waterways, other seaports might be deep, but they were dredged. This one is 65 feet deep. Osakwa River in Ihiala, Anambra State, the deepest in Nigeria naturally, right? So, and then we have Osemoto in Oguta. The pronunciation it's what I'm trying to get. I've not been there before. It's spelled Osemoto, Osemoto in Oguta. It has 18 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean, right? So to understand why I said we have the shortest and the closest and the deepest waterways to the Atlantic Ocean, let us compare the rivers I mentioned above now in Anibo to the seaports in Nigeria. So the Port Harcourt seaport was dredged up to 50 miles to the Atlantic Ocean through the Bonny River. 50. On a seaport was dredged up to 60 miles to the Atlantic Ocean. The Calabar seaport was dredged 45 miles, nautical miles. When I say miles, nautical miles, 45 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. Ibaka seaport is 30 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. This one comes closer to what we have in Anibo. One year, small, a little, right? 30 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. And then the Lagos seaport, the seaports in Lagos, you know, were dredged 50 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. So that this means that the water in the current southeast region alone, you know, have fewer nautical miles and are closer to the Atlantic Ocean than the One, Calabar, Ibaka, Lagos, and Port Harcourt seaports, respectively. I want this to sink in so you understand that you have been lied to, we have been lied to. Let this sink in. Every other seaport in Nigeria exists today was dredged to get to where they are. But naturally, we have the shortest distance to the Atlantic Ocean. And if we further dredge these tributaries to the Atlantic Ocean, we would have some of the best seaports you have in Africa. Or let me just say in Nigeria. Right, so that being said, we move forward. So in 1959 was before our independence in 1960. So you understand where I'm going to. The Osakwa River in Ihiala and the Osemoto in Oguta were mapped out to be made seaports. You understand? They were mapped out to be made seaports. But the projects were abandoned the history of Nigeria by the Nigerian
from the very beginning.
It's not today they started trying to hinder Igbo progress.
To the very beginning we became a nation.
The project of
we
the
got it all together wrong.
You know,
you bring in people of
even the Admiralty membership
different beliefs,
license was
different socialization, different milieu.
to confirm what I'm saying, the African Development Bank has a report on this particular,
to form a nation.
Project.
Only the initial builders of Nigeria
I will find the
had
report.
a clear vision and a mission, devoid of any sentiment. Soon thereafter,
that being said, so
it became clear that
how did we
it was a wrong union.
Now, before I even get
it
to how
was
we
a union that
our
was
land,
not properly negotiated. We could have remained a great country if we had isolated our own identities, peculiarities, culture, while contributing to build a nation just like America. But we ended up having people from one generation, one sort of village to another. Everybody coming with a vision and a mission.
By
and destroy the previous ones he made, even they are good because they are put in place by an imaginary enemy.
To the Atlantic Ocean and
secondly,
one of the deepest,
we have a nation where we celebrate criminals.
We are not
it is only in Nigeria that somebody will clearly steal and loot.
Now, how did we lose
hugely
so much
from the public treasury?
How did
and then after some time, you see him receiving national honors. You see him being given chieftaincy titles.
How did we get there?
You see him being called King, Prince,
some of the major contributors
that
to this
is an indicator that we are yet to be there. We also form a nation. Only the initial builders of Nigeria had a clear vision and a mission, devoid of any sentiment. Soon thereafter, it became clear that it was a wrong union. It was a union that was not properly negotiated. We could have remained a great country if we had isolated
so many of our Igbo brothers, after they started to deny their
culture
and ancestry,
while contributing to build a nation just like America. But we ended up having people from one generation, one set of village to another. Everybody coming with a vision and a mission. And destroy the previous ones he made, even they are good because they are put in place by an imaginary enemy. Secondly, we have a nation where we celebrate criminals. It is only in Nigeria that somebody will clearly steal and loot hugely from the public treasury. And then after some time, you see him receiving national honors.
Our Igbo brothers,
you see him being given chieftaincy titles. You see him being called King, Prince, and Emma.
And then also
that
by
is an indicator that we are yet to be there. We also have a complacent followership. A followership that is satisfied with collecting 500 naira to vote, a further naira to vote, a bar of soap, a tin of milk. On that basis, he surrenders his franchise. It means we are not conscious of our civic duties and responsibilities as a nation. Majority of the common people that are complaining now are also contributing to the destruction of the country in collaboration with the colleagues or of the elites. While the elites are using the treasury, they are hailing them. Today, if a northerner were to be caught stealing 10 billion naira and he is taken to court, believe me honestly, you will see northern organizations, northern elites, some of them saying that he is being persecuted because he's a northerner, because he's a Muslim.
We also saw
we have such an incident. I can give you, if you give me time.
These are the major ones.
A former managing director of the bank in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria, in between his wife,
and over the years,
his house,
no more history.
His younger brother himself
was erased from
stole 3 billion naira directly from shareholders' money.
Without teaching of history,
just wait.
Was erased, so
he was taken to court.
Know their ancestry,
and he appeared only once before the next adjournment date.
All of this
two prominent Islamic scholars, a member of Jamaat Islam, and an elder went and visited the president, interceded on his own behalf. By the next adjournment date, the Attorney General entered a novel for the queue in his own favor. 4 years after, I saw his name with OON without being extended presidential predicate of diplomacy, without gazetting his name.
So going
until
forward,
I still have the gazette. He has not been gazetted. 9 years after, another governor from South, maybe he was looking for GCON because this one was giving OON for stealing 3 billion naira. That Southern State governor stole 30 billion naira. He was also charged to court. South Elders Forum, members of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Secretary General of Khan, visited Mr. President in the villa. I still have the video on NTA. They say, Mr. President,
every indigenous people who have waterways leading to the Atlantic Ocean have
the money
right
said had been stolen by him. Does that money belong to the federal government or to the state government? And the president said the money belongs to the state. He's our son, we have forgiven him.
At least we can say we
and that's the end of the story. As if
Islam
Islam and Christianity is about stealing and looting the public treasury. Until we dispose of this mentality of using religion to intimidate government and to know other people, we have a very, very long way to go. We must not wear the face of Moses.
So whether we are in Nigeria or not in Nigeria,
if we want this country to grow.
Okay, we'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue to tackle issues with more.
So and some of the other laws that back our legal access to the Atlantic Ocean are the United Nations Treaty of the Sea. United Nations Treaty of the Sea, and also the African Union Treaties and Conventions of the Sea. Hear me again. We have the International Law of the Sea, we have the United Nations Treaty of the Sea, and then we have the African Union Treaty and Convention of the Sea. These laws guarantee that Ndi Igbo have access to the Atlantic Ocean. And as long as Nigeria and the countries around us, Cameroon and the rest, are signatories to these international laws, then they do not have any right to prevent us from having that access. It's just that it's so bad that certain things in Nigeria have been put on the exclusive list of the federal government. Things like railway lines and, you know, major refineries and even seaports. States can't even have seaports. If not, we can create seaports of our own. You know, every Imo state will create a seaport. Abia state will have a seaport. Anambra will have a seaport. You know. And then we move ahead with our lives. But we're in a federal government where the constitution hinders the progress of a people. And that is why we are saying that we want Nigeria restructured, or we divide and we go. It's as simple as that. So, man, we'll leave this part. This is what I just said now for another video entirely. So, we have access to the Atlantic Ocean, and we have multiple access to the Atlantic Ocean. If you go through River Niger, if River Niger is dredged, because most of the seaports in Nigeria were dredged to get to the Atlantic Ocean. River Niger is dredged. We would through Bonny, we'll be at the Atlantic Ocean. The big ships come dock, you know, at the seaport. With smaller vessels, they come into Onitsha and we offload them. Onitsha main market keeps boosting, you understand? And when people tell you that they can't dredge waters, it's a lie. It's a lie. There are places in the world where they were just tiny waterways. They were dredged to have now I will call them major seaports and access to the sea. London has a seaport, but they don't have access to the sea. They had to dredge their way to the sea, and most of the ships that come into the UK come to London, but London has a waterway to the sea which it dredged. There's this I've forgotten the name. We'll leave this for another video. But the summary of what I'm saying, I'm telling you, is that Igbo is not landlocked. Igbo is not landlocked. Tell this to our enemies, tell this to our detractors, tell this to your children, tell this to your family members, that we have multiple access to the Atlantic Ocean. And with this, I'll come to the end of this interesting and educative episode of Voice of the Sun. If you have any opinion or comments, you can drop them wherever you find this video, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever. And feel free to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter, wherever you find this video, and also share this video so that our people will know the truth about who we are and what we have. Ndabanye. Oya dio gozo. Till next time when we meet again. Dalono. There, man.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.